sir. Good morning. How are you? Namaste. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Good morning. Morning. Lots of people are there. Everyone is utilizing lockdown properly. I am fine, thank you. Okay, so I think we have good enough audience to start. So this session is more about introduction of nakshatras. I am not going to talk about any specific nakshatra. It is just an introduction that how we should look into the nakshatra related things. Nakshatras are important because they are the base. Okay. So, if you pay attention to the word itself, nakshatra word has come from the word akshat. Okay, the root word of nakshatra is akshat. Akshat means something which is immortal or something which is permanent. So when nakshatra has this word itself has come from the word which means immortal or permanent. That means nakshatras are going to remain permanent part of any astrological system. Even if you look at other astrological system like Western or Vedic or any other astrological system, there will be a portion of nakshatras. There will be portion of constellations. Same things are called constellations in English or in Western astrology. So constellations will be part of astrology, or nakshatras will be part of astrology, no matter which astrology it is. Okay, so this is important. First thing, that it is going to be permanent part. So as it is permanent part of astrology, we need to look at it very closely, as it is going to impact our predictions, our analysis permanently. Okay. Second thing is that if we look into total number of nakshatras, they are 28. Okay, in Vedic astrology, they are actually 28 nakshatras. 27 we consider. 28th one is Abhijit nakshatra. Abhijit is somewhere in portion between 6 to 10 degrees of Capricorn sign, the same portion where Uttarashada falls. Okay, Uttarashada is somewhere means significances or representations of Uttarashada is somewhat similar to Abhijit. Maybe that's why they don't take it separately. I don't know the reason why Abhijit is not considered separately. But overall means there are 28 nakshatras, 27 we consider them. Okay. Then the mythology of nakshatras goes around is that these 27 nakshatras are actually 27 sisters, and they all got married to moon, and moon is supposed to spend one day with every nakshatra. Okay, the whole story we will look into when we go into Rohini and Jyeshtha nakshatra. That is where we will know why moon spends one day with every nakshatra or every wife of his. So as moon is supposed to spend one day with one wife of his, that's why moon spends one day in one nakshatra, 24 hours in one nakshatra. Okay. So this is the thing. Then this is the mythological part, that these are 27 sisters, and they all got married to moon. Then when we come into the interpretation of nakshatra, the first important thing is the nakshatra name itself. Okay, If you decode the name, if you decode the name of the nakshatra, then you will understand a lot about the nakshatra itself. Okay. For example, if I I recently came to know about this one, Swati. Okay. Swati nakshatra, just split the word into two parts, Swa plus Ati. Okay. Swa plus Ati means it is extreme of self. Ati means extreme, and Swa means self. It is extreme of self or extreme of individuality. So Swati represents those people who are very individualistic or independent people. Okay. So from the name itself you have got this much clue that Swati will represent those people who are very independent people. Okay. Ashwini, by in the name itself Ashwa is there. Ashwa means horse. Okay. Its deity is also a horse god, Ashwini Kumar, and its mythological story has importance of horses also. That's why Ashwini is closely related with animals or people who work with animals. Okay. It is most important nakshatra for someone who is a veterinary doctor. Okay. Or somewhere who is in taking care or working with animals. Ashwini also represents someone who is very strong, like a horse. Okay. Because it represents the horsepower. Most recently I have seen a chart where 3 planets were in Ashwini, and this person was a wrestler. Okay. He was a professional wrestler, and it is like 3 planets, I think Sun, Mercury, Mars, something like that. Sun, Mercury, Mars, all 3 in Ashwini. Okay, so Ashwini is important where it is about physical strength, it is about horsepower, it is about working rigorously. Okay, so again you are getting all these indications just by the name itself. You don't need to go into the philosophy of the nakshatra. If you just decode the name, then you will get a lot about the nakshatra. Then if I take another example for the name itself, Kritika. Okay, this can be interesting. Kritika, the root word of Kritika is actually the root word of the word critic in English. Okay, the root word of critic is Kritika. It is very similar, right? So the root word of critic is Kritika. So Kritika people, whoever have a strong Kritika, means many planets in Kritika or moon in Kritika or ascendant nakshatra in Kritika, they can be very critical. They can have this critical approach and critical way of explaining things. Okay. So this is another indication you are getting only from the nakshatra name itself. So the first thing where you should pay most attention when you are talking about any nakshatra is the name of the nakshatra and what indications you are getting from the name itself. Okay, without going into any other philosophy. Then we can also translate the name into English to understand things better or understand the name itself better. Like Chitra. Okay. The literal interpretation, simplest interpretation of Chitra, translation of Chitra is picture in English. Okay. So the name itself is giving you an indication that Chitra is somewhere related with picture or pictorial things. So picture related things can become very important for those people who have Chitra prominent in their chart, where they have lots of planets in Chitra nakshatra or moon in Chitra nakshatra, and this ascendant nakshatra is Chitra. So for those people, this picture kind of thing, something pictorial, would be very important. Either they can be working in architecture, either or they can be working in any graphic related things, graphic representation of things. So it will give you an idea. I am not saying that you can decode the whole chart by one name itself. I am just saying that you can at least decode the name itself, the nakshatra itself. Okay, so it will give you an idea. Like chitra is also very closely related with astrology, because even an astrologer looks at pictures only throughout the day. If I am looking at chart is nothing but picture of the sky at the time of your birth, all right, or at the time of my birth. It can be my chart also. So it is like even an astrologer is looking at picture. Okay, so likewise hasta is hands. Okay, same philosophy if we apply on another nakshatra, hasta means hands. Hasta nakshatra is very prominent for those people who are palmist. Okay, they are always looking at hands. So this is what I am trying to tell, is that first your first attention should always go into the name of the nakshatra and how you can decode that name in the simplest of the forms. Okay, without going into any philosophy or logic or explanation or interpretation by hundreds of astrologers, just go by the name. Okay, this is the first step. Then every nakshatra, second step is every nakshatra has some picture attached with it. Okay, every nakshatra has a picture attached with it, and if you decode the picture, then you can decode a lot about nakshatra. Okay, like if we take example Magha. Okay, Magha's picture is royal throne. Is like a throne where king sits. So when Magha Nakshatra's pictorial representation is a throne, then we can understand that it is a nakshatra related with kinghood or authoritative position. Okay, someone getting an authoritative position can be seen from Magha as nakshatra. Okay. Another thing we can another example I can give is Kritika Ashwini. Okay, so Shravana, the best example, easiest example. Shravana's pictorial representation is ear. Okay, so from that representation itself we can see that Shravana is the nakshatra of listening. Okay, and that's why it becomes nakshatra of teaching and counseling also, because it is the same. Because if you are to counsel someone, then you have to first listen to that person. If you are teaching someone, then you have to listen to that person's problems or questions also. Okay, so now Shravana is the best example of what I was saying earlier also, that Shravana by the name itself, if you just translate this name into English, Shravana means listening. Shravan means listening. Okay, its representation is picture is ear. So it gives you an indication that it is all about listening, counseling, teaching, and communication. Okay, so that's why Shravana becomes most important when it is about communicating something. Okay, so this is another simple way by which you can get a lot of indication about the nakshatra. Then the ruler and ruler's position is very important. Okay, every planet rules 3 nakshatras. Okay, as we normally take 27 nakshatras, 9 planets, so every planet has 3 nakshatras in its authority, we can say. Every planet rules over 3 nakshatras. So whenever you are trying to interpret a nakshatra, always look at its ruler and ruler's position, where that the ruling planet is placed. Like if someone has a moon in Rohini Nakshatra, no, bad example. Moon in Pushya Nakshatra, let's say. If someone has a moon in Pushya Nakshatra, Pushya's lord is Saturn. So while interpreting moon or moon's result, you have to look at where Saturn is also placed. Okay. So that is important. So the planet which rules a particular nakshatra, that nakshatra will take the significances of that planet also. So Pushya will have some representation, some significance of Saturn. Rohini will have some significances of moon also, because it rules it. Okay. Likewise, if we look at Purva Falguni, it will have some indications of Venus also. Okay. So every nakshatra's ruler and ruler's position become important while we are trying to interpret any planet in any nakshatra. Then the deity. Then every planet has a deity involved. There is a difference between ruler. Ruler is a planet. Okay, deity is the god or goddess involved in with the story related with that nakshatra. So like Ashwini Nakshatra's deity are Ashwini Kumars. Okay. Then if we look at Chitra Nakshatra, its deity is Vishwakarma, and it is all because of the mythological stories involved in these nakshatra. Like for the Ashwini Nakshatra's mythological story, Ashwini Kumars have important role. Likewise, in Chitra's Nakshatra's mythological story, this Vishwakarma has important role. So we need to take the deity also. Okay, that deity will also impact the nakshatra results in some way. Like in case of Ashwini Nakshatra, Ashwini Kumars are the deity, they are the metaphysical healers. Okay, they have the portfolio of being the metaphysical healers for gods. Now when we are interpreting Ashwini Nakshatra, it becomes a prominent case that they can be interested in metaphysics, occult, or they can be healers. Okay. Likewise, Chitra Nakshatra, as I was giving example, Vishwakarma is the deity. Lord Vishwakarma is the deity. He is universal architect. So Chitra is very closely related with any work related with architecture. Okay, and person can be involved in any work related with construction or land, real estate, because Chitra is ruled by Mars, the planet which represents real estate, and its deity is also Lord Vishwakarma, which is who is universal architecture. Okay, so this is the thing. So we need to also keep in mind the deity involved for every nakshatra. Then mythological story. You need to know the mythological story involved with every nakshatra. Okay, almost every nakshatra has some mythological story involved, and the purpose of giving that story is again the same thing, that people should understand the significances through that story. It may be very difficult for us to understand the significances in an order, right? If I just tell that Ashwini Nakshatra represents these 10 things, it may be very difficult to understand those 10 or remember those 10 things. But if I tell those 10 things in a story, then it will be easier for us to keep in mind. So it is very important to understand and remember the story involved with every nakshatra. Another thing is that many times it happens that the story goes into the sequence. Okay, it is like the same story is continuing in every nakshatra. Like the story which starts for Rohini Nakshatra continues in Mrigashira Nakshatra, it continues in Ardra Nakshatra, and then it continues in Punarvasu. Okay. So if you understand one story, you have already covered 4 nakshatras, 3 to 4 nakshatras. So it is not that you need to understand or remember all the 27 stories, but even if you understand one story, okay, just a second. Okay. So that's what I was saying, that if you understand one story, it can cover your 3 to 4 nakshatras. Sometimes nakshatras come into a series. The stories goes into a sequel. So that is also helpful. Anyways, nakshatras come into series. Understand one thing about the nakshatras, it is they are not random. Okay. The significances of or representations of nakshatras always are into a series. Okay, it is like the representations of Magha nakshatra are condition precedent for representations of Purva Falguni nakshatra. Likewise, representations of Purva Falguni Nakshatra will only be followed by representations of Uttara Falguni Nakshatra. I try to explain it. Magha is the nakshatra of royal authority or the kingship. Someone is getting the authority. Someone has won an election or won a country after a war, and he has become the king of that country. Okay. Or the prime minister or the president. Okay, he has become the prime minister or president. That is the nakshatra of Magha. You have got the authority, you have become the king. What happens after becoming the king? The celebration. After the oath taking ceremony, there has to be some celebration. Okay, there has to be some singing, dancing and all. That is Purva Falguni Nakshatra. Right? So, Magha Nakshatra has to be followed by Purva Falguni Nakshatra. There is no other way. It cannot happen that Purva Falguni is coming first and then Magha is coming. Okay. There has to be Magha followed by Purva Falguni, because there has to be an oath taking ceremony. There has to be some king, someone becoming a king, and then there is a celebration. There is a celebration by population that they have got a new king. After Purva Falguni comes Uttara Falguni. Uttara Falguni is about working hard, working tirelessly, or coming back to work. Okay, it is like you have got a vacation, and after vacation you are coming back to work. That is Uttara Falguni. Again, try to incorporate in this sequel is that someone became a king. They have the celebration. Now you cannot celebrate whole of your life. You have to get back to work. That is Uttara Falguni. So again, it can happen only in order. This Magha, Purva Falguni, Uttara Falguni. It cannot be Uttara Falguni, Purva Falguni and Magha. Right? So we have to understand the sequel also. Likewise, the story of Rohini, Mrigashira and Ardra. Rohini is when the Lord Brahma was trying to have an ancestral relationship with his daughter. Daughter ran away. This much is the story of Rohini. After that comes the story of Mrigashira, where they both turned into the deer. Deer had Mrigashira. Okay. So that is so again it cannot happen that Mrigashira will come first and then Rohini will come later. Okay, so every nakshatra is placed in an order, and we have to understand that order. We have to understand the order, and then that will help us in understanding the nakshatra and its representation. Okay. Then finally, it is not it is not a coincidence that a nakshatra falls in a particular sign. Okay, nakshatra represents almost the same things as the sign represents. Again, if we take the example of Magha, Magha can be only be the part of Leo sign. It cannot be the part of Cancer sign. Magha has all the significances or representation which are very resembling to the Leo sign. Magha is the nakshatra of authority. Leo is the nakshatra sign of authority. Likewise, Purva Falguni can only be the part of Leo sign. It cannot be part of Capricorn sign, because it is the nakshatra of creativity, all the luxuries and pleasure and lavishness of life by which we celebrate. Okay, and Leo is the sign of celebrities. Okay, Leo is the sign of all the creative pursuits. So, like this, the Purva Falguni can only be part of Leo. It cannot be part of any other sign. So, what I am trying to say is that if a nakshatra is part of one sign, that sign representations also give you an indication what that nakshatra will represent. Okay, especially if a nakshatra is coming into the middle of a sign. Okay, understand it like this. If nakshatra is in the middle part of a sign, then that nakshatra will represent maximum things represented by that sign itself. Okay, like Pushya nakshatra comes into the middle of Cancer. Okay, so and that's why Pushyas and Cancer's representations are almost identical. Okay, Cancer represents almost those things which Pushya represents, and again Pushya can only be part of Cancer. It cannot be part of any other sign because of its representations. Okay, so it is not that just because of coincidence Pushya is falling into Cancer or Shravana is falling into Capricorn. There is a reason behind everything. Okay, they can belong to that category only. So we need to remember all these things. These are all steps. If I just tell again in the steps involved, first of all we need to understand the name and its translation, and the name itself gives many hints about the nakshatra and its representation. Its translation also gives many hints about the nakshatra and its representation. The picture attached with every nakshatra, we need to understand that picture. It will give us many indications about the nakshatra. Then the ruler and ruler's position. Every nakshatra is ruled by a planet. Every planet rules 3 nakshatras. So rulers, who is the ruler and ruler's position? That is important to interpret nakshatra. Every nakshatra has a deity, a god or goddess attached with it because of a mythological story. So we need to understand that god or goddess role in that story and the story itself. Okay, as I said, the story becomes very important in understanding nakshatra. Then, as I said, that every nakshatra, every story, mythological story comes in a sequel. Every nakshatra comes in a series. So when we are covering one nakshatra or one story, it may cover your 2-3 nakshatras. So that will give you an indication. Like like I said, that a story of Rohini nakshatra can cover your 3-4 nakshatras. Likewise, every nakshatra comes into a series, a sequel. It is like the things represented by Chitra somewhere lays down the foundation of the next nakshatra Swati, and Swati somewhere lays down the foundation of next nakshatra Vishakha. So this is what we need to keep in mind. And finally, every nakshatra is falling in a sign for a particular reason. It is not out of not out of coincidence. If a nakshatra is part of a sign, then it is for a reason, and that sign related representations are important for that nakshatra. Like all the nakshatras for Scorpio sign, like Vishakha, Anuradha and Jyeshtha, they all represent occult and mysticism, and because they are falling into the sign of Scorpio, they cannot be in any other sign. They have to be in Scorpio. Scorpio represents occult and mysticism, so its nakshatras will also represent occult and mysticism. So this is what we need to. These are the steps which we need to remember while we are interpreting nakshatras. From next week, I think we can start with Ashwini nakshatra and its representations. So that's it. So as I see, these are the important things when we are trying to interpret a nakshatra. Let's see if people have some questions. No one is putting on their mask. Great. How to decide the Magha? Magha, as I said, it is the nakshatra of authority and kingdom and getting the royal authority. Okay, so it is not necessary that everyone will become a king or a president or prime minister. It is just authority in your domain. Okay, I always say we always link authority with government or being the king or minister or something like that. But authority means authority in your field. Whatever is your field, if you have an authoritative say in that field, you are a person of authority. Like Sachin Tendulkar is authority in cricket. Lata Mangeshkar ji is authority in singing. Amitabh Bachchan is authority in acting. Okay, so they are authoritative figures in their particular stream of work. So Magha or authority only means that you should become authoritative in a particular domain of your work. After long time, I don't know, I am doing video sessions every week. You are not joining. Saturn in Shravana in 4th house in Capricorn. You said star stands for listening, but sir, I never listen to my mother. Why so? Because it is Saturn. Now understand. Here I am just telling you the representations of the nakshatra. Okay, nakshatra means Shravana means listening, so it represents listening, counseling, and all. You have Saturn in the Shravana. Saturn is about limitations. Now, when we are trying to interpret any planet in a particular nakshatra, we have to bring the significances or representations of that planet. Like Saturn in Shravana shows someone's lesser ability to listen to others. Good to see after a long time. Thank you, sir. I have Jupiter in Shravana in 4th house Capricorn, Libra ascendant, and my career is involved in higher education counseling. That's great. I am happy to know this. Others are watching you. Okay. I have my ascendant Sun, Mercury, Venus all in Uttara Falguni Nakshatra, and my moon is in Ashlesha Nakshatra. My question is, which nakshatra would have a bigger influence on me and my life in terms of characteristics, etc. I think bigger influence will be of Uttara Falguni. Okay, but moon is in Ashlesha Nakshatra. That means your mind will work in the domain of the nakshatra or through the representations of Ashlesha Nakshatra. Ashlesha is also one of those nakshatra which I love to talk about. Ashlesha Again, let's take this example to understand what all we were talking. Ashlesha. The word Ashlesha is split into two parts. A plus Shlesha. Okay. Shlesha means enough. Ashlesha means not enough. Okay. Ashlesha represents things which are not enough in your life. Now understand, if something is not enough in your life, what will you do? If I have just 100 rupees in my pocket, what will I do? I will try to keep hold on that 100 rupees for whole of my life. I will not spend it just like that. Okay, that's where Ashlesha represents holding on to things, clinging on to things, or possessing things. Ashlesha represents our insecure nature, that what will happen if this also goes away. Okay, so this is the thing. Then Ashlesha is represented by entwined snakes, two snakes entwined into each other. So it shows that now this is the second step. Picture is of entwined snakes, two snakes entwined into each other. So it shows that when someone has planets in Ashlesha, like you have moon in Ashlesha, if someone has Venus in Ashlesha, they may not even know what they are clinging on to. They may even clinging on to a poisonous snake. Okay, it is like that. That's why it is one of the most troublesome nakshatra, that they don't even know what they are clinging on to. If that person or that thing is good for them or bad for them, they don't even know. They just want to cling because there is nothing else in life. If this person also goes away, then what is left? Okay, so this is the main reason why they cling on to that. It shows their insecure nature. So moon in Ashlesha nakshatra can make you very insecure, can make you very unsafe towards your future, and it can make you cling on to the things or the people. Now Sun, Mercury, Venus in Uttara Falguni has an importance. Okay, that means as it is in your ascendant, right? Ascendant and every planet is in Uttara Falguni. It shows that you will grow in your life, overall life, with much hard work and perseverance, because it is the significance of Uttara Falguni. But throughout going through that process, when you are going through that process of putting your best effort and making hard work and showing perseverance in growing your life, your mind will still be very unsecured because of moon in Ashlesha. So your mind will work in Ashlesha domain, other part of your life will work in the other nakshatras domain. Okay. So, and again, if we look at Ashlesha's ruler is Mercury, so we need to look at Mercury's position also to understand how moon in Ashlesha will work. Now your Mercury is exalted. That brings a kind of positive thing, that okay, you may be very insecure while growing up, but as you entered into your 30s or 40s, you can get rid of that insecure feeling, because Mercury is exalted. The nakshatra lord is exalted. Then mythological story, I don't remember now, attached with it. Then sign involved for Ashlesha is again Cancer. Okay, so again Cancer is the sign of emotions. So Ashlesha shows your emotional insecurities. So this is the thing. This is the way we can interpret a planet in a particular nakshatra. Uttara Falguni has a picture of bad. What does that mean, sir? Okay, now understand, not only Uttara Falguni has a picture of bad, but Purva Falguni also has a picture of bad. Purva Falguni, I think, has representation front leg of the coat. Okay, front leg of the bad, and the Uttara Falguni has the representation of the later legs, or the after legs, the remaining two legs of of the bed. So Purva Falguni represents someone going to sleep or enjoy the bad pleasures. Uttara Falguni represents someone coming out of the bed and going back to work. Okay, so these are the things that is what I said, that Purva Falguni represents your creative life, lavishness of life, every enjoyable things, and then Uttara Falguni represents the coming back to work. Okay, coming back to put your best effort. Okay. Does the Lagna Nakshatra have more effect on us, or does the Moon Nakshatra have more effect on us? Every nakshatra will have effect. Every nakshatra will have an effect on us. It is just that Lagna Nakshatra will represent your life pattern, the kind of pattern of life you may go through. The Moon Nakshatra will show how your mind will react while going through that pattern. Okay, like my ascendant Nakshatra is Vishakha. Throughout my life, I only did one thing, that is counseling in any domain. Like I was lawyer before, then I worked in corporate in the legal teams and all. I worked as a teacher also of law, and now I am astrologer. So throughout everything I was doing counseling, that is Vishakha. Vishakha is the nakshatra of counselors. And my moon nakshatra is Rohini. So Rohini is all about living a secured life. These people like to live a very secured life. So my mind was always working how to be secured or safe in my life. Okay, either financially or otherwise. So this ascendant or any ascendant nakshatra will show the life pattern, and moon nakshatra will show how your mind will be behaving in that while going through that pattern. Okay, so everything has its own importance. Good morning, sir. Saturn. Okay. Saturn in Swati nakshatra, how would be Mahadasha? I may not be able to tell about the whole Mahadasha. It is just that Swati is the part of Libra sign. Saturn is exalted there, but Saturn is one planet which is which always brings some difficulties, some misery. So Saturn Dasha is always challenging. It brings lots of changes. Swati, Swati, as I said in the beginning of the session, it is all about independence. So the best result this person can expect in Saturn Dasha is when he is working independently. Otherwise, he will face much stress or frustration in his life throughout this Dasha, not life. Okay. Does Mars loses its beneficial nature of mean ascendant if combusted in 6th house, Mars in Magha Nakshatra? It is never like losing it altogether. If planet is combusted, then that planet can give better results when it gets matured. Mars matures at 28 years of between 28 to 31. So person can get better results of Mars in Leo if it is combusted after in his 30s. Okay. In early life it can bring lots of stress. It is a frustration. It is like Mars is your anger. Sun has burnt out the anger. Now you have anger, but you cannot express it. Okay. It is complete frustration. My Venus is in Vishakha Pada 3. What can it tell about my personality? For personality, I need a lot of things, the whole of chart actually. Venus in Vishakha Pada 3, I can only relate Vishakha. Again, if we go into the steps, Vishakha means two branches, V plus Shakha, going in split directions. So Vishakha represents people who are who are working in split directions. Okay, we having Venus in Vishakha means that either this person can have split in relationship, separation in relationship, or they can have multiple sources of income, as Venus also represents wealth. So I may not be able to tell the whole personality by Venus in Vishakha itself. How can we decide that which nakshatra will have more impact? My moon nakshatra is Uttara Ashada and ascendant lord is Swati. Again, as I am saying, every nakshatra has its impact. It will give its results. Only thing is that moon nakshatra will show how your mind is working. Okay. So why people say that moon nakshatra is important? Because that is what you are feeling. Okay. If my moon is in Rohini nakshatra, your moon is in Uttarashada nakshatra, someone else moon is in Ashlesha nakshatra, then these people are getting the feelings as per their moon nakshatra. But it doesn't mean that other nakshatras or other planets are not working. It is just that you are receptive towards your moon. Whatever your mind makes you feel, you feel that. Okay, so other things are also happening. Other nakshatras are also giving results, and you are working as per those nakshatra, but you are unable to feel that as prominently as moon's nakshatra. Okay, we have lots of questions. How to relate the Purva Bhadrapada, Uttar Bhadrapada, Revati by a story? We can relate when we go into those nakshatra. Okay, so you have to wait for a long time. I have no planets in Chitra. I am an architect. That's good for you. Understand that it is not that only one nakshatra will represent one thing. Okay. One thing can be represented by many nakshatra. Okay. Chitra represents real estate and architect. Real estate and architect also represented by Shravana because of its mythological story involving Lord Bali and Vaman avatar of Vishnu. Okay. Chitra. Then Mrakshira is also connected with this real estate. Okay, because again it is ruled by Mars, and the story goes around that Lord Brahma was chasing Rohini on the land. Okay, so that is what I want to say is that every planet, every sign, every house, and every nakshatra represents truckload of things. And same things are represented by many different nakshatras, many different signs, and many different houses. Like Leo and Capricorn, both are sign of government. Leo also represents government because it is ruled by Sun. Capricorn also represents government because it is the natural 10th house. Again, Shravana is the nakshatra of counseling and communication. There can be other nakshatras related with moon, which can be of counseling. Moon, other, I think Pushya nakshatra we can relate with counseling and teaching. So it is not that only Chitra will represent architecture or land, and other nakshatra will not represent it. Everything can be represented by different nakshatras. Okay, and it is good that you are an architect. I am happy. When most nakshatras in 19th charts fall under the rulership of one planet, what does that mean? Please give an example to interpret a chart. Yeah, you can take my chart and interpret it. So I have this 3 planets fall under the rulership of one planet. I have 3 planets in Shravana nakshatra, and its ruler moon is also in moon's nakshatra Rohini. So actually I have 4 planets in moon's nakshatra. Okay, so that means that moon and the significances of this nakshatra, significances of moon and significances of this nakshatra become very important for me. It means that as dignity wise, although these four planets are very good, means I have Mars exalted in Shravana, I have Moon exalted in Rohini. So as dignity wise they are very good. It shows that I will have almost lifelong support of my mother or mother side's family. Okay, which remained the case. I stayed with my grandfather, my maternal grandfather. My whole education was with him. There was complete support of my mother and his family throughout my life. Okay, so it just shows that whenever a planet, whenever a lot of planet are in nakshatra of one particular planet, that planet becomes very important in your life. Okay, because and its dignity is very important. It should have a strong dignity, because if its dignity is getting weak, then all other planets are getting weak. Okay, so it is important, like in my case it was very important for me to have moon in good dignity. Okay, so that I can get advantage or benefits from other planets also. Okay, so this is the thing. Whenever lots of planets in one nakshatra are ruled by one planet, that planet's significances, representation will become very important. Will they become important for good or bad depends upon the dignity of the planet involved. Saturn in the 7th house in Ashlesha Nakshatra, what does it mean? 7th house in Ashlesha Nakshatra for relationship is difficult, because first lord is coming into the 7th house, Cancer. They can have lots of emotional insecurities due to their partner or spouse. Okay, their partner or spouse or the people they attract in their life can bring lots of insecurities. Yeah, so as I said, that it's not necessary that you need to have planets in Chitra, then only you can become architect. Let's take this example. Purva Falguni is the nakshatra of creativity, but it doesn't mean that only Purva Falguni is nakshatra of creativity and no other nakshatra represents creativity. So it is just that a person can become creative person through Purva Falguni, and he can become creative person through other planets also. Okay, as you said, 10th Lord Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, Pushya. It is very good, very good position. 10th Lord Jupiter in Cancer. Now it can be Pisces or it can be this Gemini ascendant. Fine. Anyways, means if it is in Cancer, now understand, Cancer is the 4th sign and has the energy of 4th house of chart. Okay, so 4th house also represents real estate. When Jupiter is exalted there in the Cancer, it can bring the benefits from real estate market for you. Okay, but again, to clearly decode how you went into architecture field, I have to look at your chart. Okay, what is the meaning of 4 padas of nakshatra? Does it make difference when we born in different padas like Pushya 1, Pushya 2? As I understand, there can be many different interpretations of padas. As I understand it, every pada represents one purusharth we have. Okay, we are having 4 main purusharth: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Okay, so pada 1 is dharma, pada 2 is artha, pada 3 is kama, and pada 4 is moksha. So if I have planet, a certain planet in certain nakshatra and a pada, Okay, let's take if I have a moon in Rohini in first pada. Okay, I will try to approach my moon in Rohini Nakshatra to follow a righteous path in life, dharma. If I have moon in Rohini in second pada, I will try to follow my moon in Rohini position to get some wealth or security, artha. Okay, then if I have moon in Rohini in third pada, I will try to follow my moon in Rohini position to get my desires done. Okay, meet my desires, kama, third. And if I have moon in Rohini in fourth pada, I will utilize my moon in Rohini position in to get some spiritual evolution or liberation or moksha. Okay, so this is the way I understand. I don't know how many people agree to it and all, but this is the way I will take it. Does Purvabhadra Pada's symbol have bad too? Yes, but there is a difference. It is death bad. It is not the bad for sleeping or bad pleasures. It is death bad. Okay, understand why it is death bad. Purvabhadra is one of the later nakshatras. One of the last nakshatras, right? Purvabhadra, Uttarabhadra and Revati. So Purvabhadra is where a person starts leaving the attachment of the body and attachment of the materialistic pleasures. He realizes that his last time has come. Okay, so he falls sick or he starts leaving his attachment towards body and he lays down on the bed. Okay, so that bed is different from the bed pleasure of Purva Falguni. Uttarashada Padavan, then moon is my Atmakaraka, moon is Vargottama, and also same sign is my Arudha Karkamsha Lagna. So does this show moon and Sagittarius is most important sign of planet? Moon becomes important to you. So understand from me, you will never get this kind of judgment that this is most important, this is least important. Nothing like that. It is just important. Okay. So moon is important for you anyways because it is Atmakaraka. Okay. And all these things, Arudha Lagna, Karkamsha Lagna, all these are somewhere attached to your moon. So moon is becoming important and moon is anyways important, right? Moon is your mind. At the end of the day, we do what our mind says. So moon is important, but I cannot say it is the most important, because when you say that it is most important, you are indirectly saying that other planets are not that important, which cannot be the case. Every planet is important, every sign is important, every house is important, every nakshatra is important. One day I was telling that by the end of my life, okay, whenever I'm supposed to leave this world, if I just look at my chart that particular day, okay, I may realize that I have got results of every planet, every nakshatra, every pada, every sign and every house. Everything in my chart is important. Everything in my chart will give results at a particular time period. Okay, and by the end of the life, I will realize that everything was important. Okay, so I will never say that this is more important or that is more important. Rahu in Vishakha Nakshatra. Vishakha is about split direction, as I said. It is all about counseling. If it is in Libra Nakshatra, it can make you obsessive towards relationship plus being a counselor, as a diplomat, as a advocate, or making some peace initiatives and something like that. When it is in Scorpio, it can make you obsessive about occult and mysticism and related counselings. Is there any accurate method for birth time rectification? There is no accuracy of anything in this universe. Okay, everything is probability, possibility. Okay, uh, as at least I will not say that this is completely accurate, this is not accurate. Okay, everything is probability. Even even if someone reduces makes your time of birth precise up to minute, you will still have some doubt. Okay, you will still have some doubt whether that particular minute was your correct birth time or not. So there is nothing like accurate method for me. Okay, this is my own opinion. Others can have their own opinion. Venus, Moon and Mercury in Uttara Bhadrapada, they represent. Again, it is very difficult to interpret like this. When we come to a specific nakshatra, we will deal with it. Right now, I can only say that as Uttar Bhadrapada is about spiritual pursuits and mystical powers, if this person involves himself in lots of spiritual pursuits, okay, and like meditation and all, he can develop some mystical powers. That's it. That's where he should pay his attention and energy. My Rahu is in Uttara Bhadra Pada 2 and Ketu is in Uttara Falguni Pada 4. What can I expect in Rahu Dasha with Ketu as Antardasha? Rahu Ketu is we need not to go into all these details for this. Rahu Ketu Dasha is always the time of biggest illusion, because both planets are representing illusion. When Rahu Dasha or Ketu Antardasha or vice versa, means Ketu Mahadasha and Rahu Antardasha is going on, you can be in total illusion in that time. Just let that time period go away, okay, and try to sail through that time period, because if you do something important in this time period, you may be doing in illusion. So just let this time period go away. Take some important decisions in Rahu Venus Dasha. Can you please explain about Jupiter and Ketu in first house, Cancer ascendant? It is a very spiritual position. This person should pay most attention or energy in following spiritual pursuits, counseling, teaching, healing people through his knowledge. Okay, it can be, this position can be best utilized if this person is sharing his knowledge with others. The more he shares, the better he will grow in his life. Please make a video on planet exalted and retrograde and planet debilitated and retrograde at the same time. I think I have written an article. Maybe after this nakshatra series, after 27 weeks, I may make it. There is no information available anywhere. I have both the combination in chart. You can read one of my article, effects of retrograde debilitated planet or retrograde exalted planet, something like that. Just search on the website under the list of article section, you will get it for all the answers. So you're welcome. Gemini ascendant, Saturn Rahu with Sun, Saturn Rahu with Sun, okay, in Capricorn 8th house. It is a difficult position, especially for your career and your confidence. When Saturn, Rahu and Sun are combined in Capricorn, it also shows you can go through lots of changes and transformations in your life. So it is. I can only say that as you grow, as you enter into 30s, you will realize your self-worth. You will have more confidence in your 30s and 40s rather than in your 20s. So that is the thing. Working under others is never a good idea for you. You will always find the people who are going to hurt your ego. So it is better for you to work for yourself. And in relationship matters, you can have very tough relationship with your in-laws. Which Ayanamsa do you use? I use Galactic Center Sagittarius. I use Larry, BC Larry. My Rahu is in Gemini. Uh, uh, Rahu is in Gemini Ardra. Okay, house 3. Ketu is in Sagittarius Mula. What do you think about it? Is this axis of 3rd, 9th and Ardra Mula can give you best results when you are doing counseling related with occult and mystical things, and that will give you good benefits. Okay. Rahu is in Gemini, 3rd house, means you are supposed to do business and communication, and Ketu in Sagittarius in Mula can make you highly research oriented about occult things. So utilize this position there. My moon is in Shravana, Pada 3, Capricorn, house 10 with Mars. It is a good position for moon and Mars. Mars is exalted. Mars is also getting the directional strength. So just utilize it there. By Shravana is counseling Mars, Mars and Moon there. So again, it is all about counseling. For children, from what age their horoscope can be checked or analyzed? If any specific rule, I don't follow any specific rule, but if there is no take this scenario, if there is no urgency, okay, I will look at even at the chart of a newborn child, just born child. I will be ready to look at that kid's chart if there are health issues. Okay, if there are some health issues and parents need some guidance and all, so I will be happy to looking at it. But if there is no health issue or nothing to be concerned about, just let the kid enjoy his childhood. You also enjoy his childhood with him, and we will worry about all these things when he is 10-15 years old. Okay, when you are thinking about his career and all, why to worry? So I will only look at health concerns rather than anything. I won't say that okay, get your child in this course or that course. Let him enjoy, let him or her enjoy. Okay, how is Jyeshtha Ketu and Rahu Rohini in axis? Jyeshtha Ketu is all about occult. Ketu in Jyeshtha Nakshatra. Jyeshtha is represented by round talisman. Okay, it is the closest nakshatra of occult. So when Ketu which itself represents occult and research, so Jyeshtha Ketu can make person very much research oriented in occult matters. Rahu Rohini is all about a person who is looking for security and safety in his life. And he seeks security through materialistic pleasures or wealth. Okay, so this is the significance. So Jyeshtha, as I was saying, all these nakshatras are 27 sisters. Jyeshtha is the eldest one. If you just translate this word Jyeshtha into English, Jyeshtha means the eldest one. So the Jyeshtha is the eldest among them. So Jyeshtha people have feeling of ego also, prideness and all that. So when Ketu is in Jyeshtha Nakshatra, the person needs to let go of his ego. Okay, so this is the thing. Do you see date of death by the ascendant? My is in Aries, Bharani, so I have to die with Mahadasha of Venus. Maybe, I don't know. I am not sure about date of birth, date of death, anything. Okay. I can only say that okay, these times can be difficult, or a person should be taking care of his health and all during these time. Okay, I cannot say or predict or pronounce that that person will die at this age. That is too much to say. Okay. So I will just limit myself up to the health issues, so that this person can have health issues during this time, and this care should be taken. But what happens after that, it's God's wish. It is not under my domain to announce when someone is going to die. As if there is something called death. Anyways, there is nothing called death, right? No one ever died. Okay, I think we are done. Lots of questions today. You're welcome. So we will start with Ashwini Nakshatra from next week, and then we will see other things. Bye. Take care. Stay home. Stay safe. Thank you.